And she is able to get people in to make movies, but I mean, creatively, just not there. And she's got the clout because of George Lucas and because of Frank Marshall and because of Steven Spielberg and everybody else over the years, all the guys that made all these films what they were, that she just kind of came along for the ride and hung her hat on. Well, if all the women that are at Lucasfilm now that have basically been running it, and I include Dave Filoni in that, in the group of women, I mean, basically, Lucasfilm needs to do pretty much one thing. Right? If Disney is really serious, fire all the women at Lucasfilm right now that are running it. Every one of them, because they're all part of the same little we hate men feminist clique.
Renegade Online.
The quarterback, unless he get the ball to somebody else, in which case I'll try to tackle that person.
I don't know who made that, but I want to hug them.
It's a bunch of them. It's a company called, I got it marked down. They post it on X. They've got like 5 or 6 of them now. It's great.
I want to hug them. I don't care who they are. I don't care about their body odor. I just want to hug them and say thank you for that.
So let me just last piece of this to kind of wrap this up, because it goes hand in hand with this. Our friends over at Echo Base here, we got Coach and Rissman had this to share, came out today, and they dropped the video just probably a few minutes before we started the show. So let's take a listen here.
That's correct.
So he reports here, and he's been right about many things.
Talking about Jeff Sneider.
He's a trusted source, as far as leakers go in Hollywood, in the industry, that is. So Kennedy may be poised to step down as the head of Lucasfilm this August. He boldface August. But she won't be going too far, he says. Far away, as she's expected to produce multiple Star Wars projects, including Kinberg's trilogy, much like how former Sony boss Amy Pascal is now producer on Studio's Spider-Man movies for Sony. So he is reporting, Rissman, that the departure for Kathleen Kennedy in her role as president at Lucasfilm, that is probably going to happen in August. We know that she previously made comments about it. There was an interview just several weeks back where she said herself, her stepping down is imminent.
First of all, everybody, make sure you're subscribed. Go check out Echo Base Network if you are not already. And of course, shout out to Jeff Sneider from the InSneider. He does I think he does a Patreon or something. And I think Echo Base subscribes to him. Yeah. So
this sounds like what we've said before. I mean, we've said she'll be the executive producer.
Yep.
For years, and because that will be the consolation prize, along with the awards and the accolades and the Disney legend and all that. I mean, they're not going to send her out, on a trebuchet, but she's going to get to go out her way, and that's as a producer, quote unquote. Yeah, it doesn't surprise me that she's going to be out this year. If she's out this year, I don't know what the month is, but she didn't deny that she's leaving. And at that point,
no.
You knew.
No. And yeah, as a reminder to folks, she did not deny that she was leaving. She said when she was asked point blank, are you retiring this year? She said, I am never going to retire from making movies, in which we immediately pointed out that means she's probably leaving Disney.
Right.
Because she would have said, I'm not stepping down as Lucasfilm president. I'm never retiring from making movies. She can still continue to make movies all she wants. She doesn't have to be a studio head to do that. She'll continue to be an executive producer in that role.
Right. She had a friendly trade interviewer, right, because you and I would follow up on that. Because it's like if I said, Valiant, are you going to retire that boat? It looks to me like you're about to retire your boat and take it out of the water. And you said, I will never retire from the water.
Right. Exactly.
No, wait a minute. That's not what I asked you, sir. But the trade interviewer knew I'm not supposed to ask the follow-up.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, now like I said, according to Jeff Sneider, he's putting this at around August. So point is, we're sharing it with you so we can look and go, all right, well, that's 3 months from now. So let's see what happens. We've had the conversation a number of times. What difference is this really going to make for Disney Star Wars? Ostensively, probably not much, unfortunately. And going back to Star Wars Celebration this weekend that we just were talking about, they have announced all this new stuff, these new projects, this Ryan Gosling movie. Yes, the Rey movie is still out there with Charmin Obaid-Chinoy and whoever the hell they have writing it now. Who cares? We have Star Wars Visions and the anime. We have another season of that. Another little small, dink and dunk stuff for Disney Plus. The only big show still in production right now for Disney Plus is Ahsoka Season 2. There's really nothing else out there after that, apart from some animated stuff, some small potatoes stuff.
We've reached the end of the content.
Yeah, and you really wonder, okay, and people ask, well, then who would take it over? What would they do? Again, Filoni doesn't really have the business acumen. He could probably be creative director, but they would need a business person as a co-president for this company to run it. The thing with Kennedy, and this is the difference, and this is why Filoni, we can make all the jokes we want, and don't take this the wrong way. Dave Filoni is no Kathleen Kennedy when it comes to clout, okay? He just isn't. The only reason that Kennedy has been able to hang around here as long as she has is because of that legacy that she has based on connections, not talent, not skill, but the fact that she's been around so damn long and she has the friends that she has, and she is able to, get people in to make movies. But I mean, creatively, just not there. Dave Filoni wouldn't be able to pick up the phone and get Harrison Ford to show up to do Indiana Jones. Let's be honest. Dave Filoni wouldn't be able to pick up the phone and get, half the Ryan Gosling, for God's sake, wouldn't be able to get him. Kennedy is the person that the one place that she can do things is stuff like that. She's got the clout, and she's got the clout because of George Lucas and because of Frank Marshall and because of Steven Spielberg and everybody else over the years, all the guys that made all these films what they were, that she just kind of came along for the ride and hung her hat on. What does Lucasfilm look like? Well, if all the women that are at Lucasfilm now that have basically been running it, and I include Dave Filoni in that, in the group of women, I mean, basically, Lucasfilm needs to do pretty much one thing, right? If Disney is really serious, you fire all the women at Lucasfilm right now that are running it. Every one of them. Every one of them. Because they're all part of the same little we hate men feminist clique. And this is why we've got the caliber of Star Wars that we do now. They don't know how to craft female characters. They don't know how to craft male characters. Because, apart from the first 2 seasons of Mando, what real strong male characters have we gotten? None. What really good quality female characters have we really gotten apart from the first 2 seasons of Mando? Arguably none. I remember the Acolyte was supposed to be the big girl power one. And whoever, the people writing that show couldn't write their way out of a paper bag. It's just what it was. That's where we are. So they need a total overhaul, and the stuff that they announced this weekend just ain't doing it. And like I said, the sad thing is that image of Pedro Pascal standing next to Sigourney Weaver is the hallmark of Star Wars Celebration.
Make sure you're subscribed to Valiant Renegade and join us every Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern for the live show.